Okay, so let's talk about my weekly bump date. This is something I didn't do when I was pregnant with Marceline. Oh, please excuse my pizza crust. But I want to do this time around. Say hi. So this is the first one. Get excited. So today I'm officially 10 weeks, which means I've completed 10 whole weeks of being pregnant. So we'll do from the beginning or from about 5 weeks, which is about when I found out that I was pregnant up until now. And then I will try to do weekly after this. So, why I ended up taking a test, which you'll see that whole thing, the vlog before this, because tomorrow we have our second ultrasound, and as long as everything goes good with that, we will be announcing to everyone, and that whole thing will go up before this. But obviously my period was late, and I was just feeling kind of gross, but not like my normal gross. So I was like, might as well take a test. And that line was dark. So dark. With Marcy, when I took the test, first few times, the line was so thin. Like, my husband and my mom didn't even believe I was pregnant. They looked at it and they were like, I don't see anything. It took a little while for it to get darker, but this time around, super dark. So I gave it a couple days, and then the next week I called a doctor to set up my first OB appointment, which I thought I was a week further along than I actually was. So I thought I was going in when I was a little, like a day or two over 8 weeks. But based on the measurement of the baby, I was about 7 weeks and 1 day. So they wanted me to reschedule and come in like 2 or 3 weeks later. They wanted 2 weeks, but the office was moving. So it ended up being 3 weeks, which is tomorrow's appointment. But yeah, about a week before my first appointment, I started bleeding, which I also had with Marcy. So I was like, great. I knew I was Rh negative, and Zach's blood type is positive, so I know I had to go in and get a RhoGAM shot because I was bleeding. And I also was on progesterone supplements with Marcy in the beginning from like when bleeding started for the first 12 weeks, just because my levels were a bit low. And those were the oral supplements. But since we've moved out of state, and obviously I have a new doctor now, I had mentioned this. And when I started bleeding, they wanted me to go on to progesterone, but I had to do the suppository. Boy. So I start that, and I'm bleeding even more, and I'm freaking out. And so, like, it's a couple days before my first doctor appointment, and I'm talking to the nurse about every like symptom I'm having or whatever. And she's like, it sounds like maybe you're miscarrying. So of course I'm beside myself. She's like, just keep your appointment. We'll come in. We'll see what's going on. So come in. Doctor comes in right away. We don't do any of the other like checkup stuff. It's straight to ultrasound. And we see a little bean and a little flickering heartbeat, and it's so cute, and it's still there. So that was 7 weeks and a day, and now we're at 10 weeks. Tomorrow's 10 weeks and a day. So we will see what they have to say about little nugget baby. Hopefully everything is good. After the ultrasound, because it was an internal, I had a lot of bleeding that day and the next day. But since then, I think I've only had like 1 or 2 bleeding issues. And I definitely think it's the suppository causing irritation and all that stuff, which the doctor tended to agree with that, seeing that everything looked good in the first ultrasound. Other than that, I've thrown up a few times. I'm nauseous pretty much every day, all day. It just comes in waves of intensity. Definitely have food aversions. I'm sorry, I'm eating. Definitely have some things that I'm like, that sounds real good, and until I eat it, I'm like, that sounds real good. That sounds real good. That sounds real good. So if you want me to stop saying that sounds real good, you better find it for me and get it. But otherwise, nothing major yet. So yeah, that's through week 10, and I will update you guys next week.